I need to get this off my chest before I completely spiral. My hands won't stop shaking, and I've rewritten this like 6 times already. I've been with Daniel for 6 years, married for almost 4. We didn't meet through dating apps or friends or anything like that. We actually got stuck in a museum freight elevator when the power cut out during a thunderstorm. We were trapped for almost 3 hours with nothing but his energy, drink, and my granola bar to split, while sitting on the floor next to dusty display crates. Security took forever to find us, but honestly, it was the best random meet ever. We talked about everything from Dolly to our awkward high school phases. When we finally got out, he said it was the best detour of his life and asked for my number. Life with Daniel has been mostly good, I'll admit. We bought a small townhouse 3 years ago, have a solid circle of friends, and have generally enjoyed the quiet rhythm of life together. My birthday was last weekend. Daniel's always gone out of his way to make it special last year. He surprised me with a weekend trip to the Adirondack. The year before, he planned this sweet rooftop dinner with some friends, but about 3 weeks ago, he told me his job was sending him to a leadership summit over my birthday, and there was no way to reschedule. I was definitely bummed, but tried to be mature about it. He looked genuinely frustrated and kept saying his manager was being totally unreasonable. Putting it over that weekend, he swore we'd do something special when he got back. Maybe even take a long weekend trip. I didn't question it, not for a second. Idiot me. The night before he left, he gave me a tiny wrapped box, just a bracelet and a note saying sorry for missing the day. He kissed my forehead and said he hated going. I watched him pack all his button-downs, khakis, and his laptop. He even folded up those embarrassing team spirit shirts companies always seem to force on people. I helped him zip the suitcase shut. God, I feel so stupid now. So my birthday weekend came and went. I spent it alone, ordered Thai food, binge-watched 2 seasons of that new docuseries everyone's been raving about, and FaceTimed my parents. They wished me a happy birthday. My mom asked if Daniel had anything special planned for me, and I told her about the leadership summit. She sounded confused but didn't press. Now I get why. Monday rolls around, and Daniel comes home, carrying little souvenir bags, fancy truffles, and a small bottle of Pinot Noir from the resort. He looked tired but cheerful. Talked about long meetings, trust fall exercises, how he hated the food but loved the mountain air. Everything felt completely normal. Then Kayla messaged me, someone I mostly talk to at social things, more acquaintance than friend. She said, "Hey, can you call me when you're alone?" I didn't think much of it. Figured maybe something weird happened at work. When I called, she hesitated, then asked, "Is Daniel with you?" I said no. That's when she goes, "I wasn't going to say anything, but I saw something on Insta. I think it's your sister." I was like, "My sister? What are you talking about?" She sighed. One of my mutuals posted a poolside story from a resort this weekend. Just a chill vibe thing. But I swear it's Daniel and Emily in the background. I didn't believe it at first. She sent the screen recording, and there they were. My husband, my sister, lounging by the pool, clear as day, his arm around her waist, her head leaning on his shoulder. He's gently rubbing her back. They're laughing. They look close, relaxed, like people on vacation, like a couple. And I was home, alone, on my birthday, thinking he was stuck in conference rooms doing icebreaker games. Jesus. I watched that clip over and over again. Couldn't breathe, couldn't blink. It was unmistakably them. Same stupid navy vest I packed for him. She's wearing the silver bracelet I gave her for her promotion. You literally cannot script this. All this time, they were at a mountain spa together. Cozy, carefree, like I didn't even exist. I don't know what hurts worse, the betrayal or the ease with which they let it all show. He didn't mess up. He didn't have a moment of weakness. He just didn't care. And I would have never found out, if not for a random 10-second Instagram story from a girl Kayla barely knows. I checked our joint account, found a $1,200 cash withdrawal the Friday he left. No spa charges, nothing labeled. His personal account, clean, like always. But then I remembered my grandma had mailed me $800 in birthday cash like she always does. I had tucked it into my wallet to deposit later. It was gone. That's when I called the resort. Said I needed a receipt for expense reporting. The woman was super polite. Looked it up under Daniel's name. No hesitation. Confirmed dates. Told me they booked the romantic escape for 2 package. Totalan $1,150. Paid $800 in cash. $150 on a credit card. I realized then the missing cash was the $800 my grandma gave me for my birthday, and that $1,200 withdrawal I'd seen from our joint account. Daniel must have used it to pay off the rest of the resort charge. He literally stole my birthday money to take my sister on a romantic spa weekend. Well, I sat at home thinking he was at a leadership summit. I waited until Daniel got home. I didn't say anything at first, just showed him the poolside video Kayla sent me. His face went pale, then flushed. He opened his mouth and started stammering, said Emily had been going through a tough time, and he was just trying to be there for her. Said they didn't plan anything. It just happened. I didn't respond. I just pulled up the resort confirmation on my phone and showed it to him. Then I asked, "Did you use my birthday money?" That's when the shift happened. Like watching a mask drop. His whole face hardened. And he admitted it. Said yes. He took the money. Yes. They've been seeing each other for a while now. Then he laughed. While I sat there trying not to sob, he actually laughed and said, "You never appreciated anything anyway. At least Emily knows how to treat a man." I walked straight into the bedroom and slammed the door. I heard him on the phone afterward, probably warning Emily that I knew. That was 3 days ago. I haven't spoken to him since. He's tried vacillating between guilt-tripping me, being defensive, offering these half-assed apologies like we need to talk. Or can we just be adults about this? This morning he left for work like everything was fine. Said bye and grabbed his coat rougher than usual when I didn't respond. I haven't told my parents. Haven't confronted Emily. I haven't told anyone except Reddit. It feels like I've been dropped into someone else's life. Like I'm sleepwalking. And the thing that keeps repeating in my brain isn't even the cheating. It's the fact that he stole my birthday money. Like, who does that? Whenever I think about it, my hands shake. I've already punched a pillow, screamed into a towel. Last night, I found myself Googling divorce lawyers at 3 a.m. I've started screenshotting everything: the bank, withdrawals, the resort email, even the pool story video. I have no idea what I'm going to do next. Should I talk to Emily? Tell my parents? Throw his stuff out on the porch? Sorry this turned into a novel. I guess I just needed someone to hear it. If you've made it this far, thank you. Seriously, any advice from someone who's lived through something like this would mean more than you know. First update. Hey, it's me again. Honestly, I didn't expect anyone to read or care about my post. I wrote it shaking, crying at 2 a.m., thinking maybe a couple strangers would say that sucks, and I'd delete it by morning. But the support, the comments, the validation that I'm not insane, it meant more than I can explain. Anyway, it's been almost 2 weeks since I found out about Daniel and Emily. It still feels like some surreal fever dream. Like this isn't my life. The first few days were a fog. Daniel and I were just moving around the house, barely speaking. He kept trying to corner me, saying things like, "We need to talk," or "You can't just ignore me forever." But I couldn't even look at him. I'd either walk away or put in earbuds and pretend not to hear. I was numb. Then out of nowhere, Emily texted me. Just one pathetic message. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen this way." Like, really? Girl, you didn't just slip and fall into my husband. You chose this. Over and over. For months. You knew it was my birthday. You knew I was going to be alone. And that's all you have to say. I didn't reply. I just forwarded the message to my mom with one line. "Ask Emily what this is about." I couldn't deal with explaining it all. But I knew my mom would get the truth out of her, and wow, did she ever. Less than an hour later, my phone was blowing up. Missed calls, voicemails, texts from both parents. I let it sit for a while. Then I finally answered my mom's call. She was crying before I even said hello. Said she'd talked to Emily, that Emily confessed. It had been going on for a while. That they caught feelings. I confirmed it all. The photos, the spa package, the birthday money, all of it. My mom went quiet, then softly asked, "Do you want me to come over?" I said no, not yet. I just needed time. Then my dad called. That one broke me. He barely said anything, just asked if I was safe, if I needed anything, money, a place to stay. His voice cracked halfway through, and I lost it. Just collapsed into tears. I hadn't cried all day, but hearing my dad sound like that completely shattered me. A few hours later, our family group chat lit up. Emily told everyone, tried to frame it like some tragic love story. We didn't mean to hurt anyone. We fought it. We couldn't help it. Robert, our older brother, was furious. Called her delusional, selfish, said what she did was unforgivable. My mom just replied with nothing else. And my dad, "I'm profoundly disappointed." That's all he wrote. But somehow that hit harder than any yelling ever could. I muted the chat. I couldn't handle any more emotional whiplash. Around that time, I realized I needed to get my head on straight. I called a friend who works at our bank, told her vaguely that things at home were getting rocky and I wanted a clearer picture of our finances. She offered to help me walk through everything. That's when it all really started to unravel. Turns out the spa weekend with Emily was just the tip of the iceberg. Daniel had been sneaky for months. Small transactions labeled as groceries, but nothing new ever showed up in our kitchen. Business trips that didn't align with the schedule he'd shared with me. And then the real punch. He had 3 credit cards I'd never even heard of, all in his name. 2 of them had me listed as an authorized user. But get this, he set it up so that no physical cards were issued, and all the notifications went straight to his email and mailing address. I didn't even know that was something you could do. My friend helped me pull the records. And there it all was. Dinners at upscale restaurants I'd never been to. Weekend Airbnb stays in nearby towns. A $300 necklace bought 3 days before Emily's birthday. It felt like being punched in the chest again. How long had this been going on? I confronted him the next morning. Calmly at first. He went defensive, almost instantly said, I was too controlling, with money and he needed some freedom. Freedom. Romantic getaways with my sister now qualify as self-care. When I brought up the credit cards, he tried to spin it. They were for emergencies, right? Because wine bars and spa weekends with your affair partner are totally emergencies. I snapped. Threw his favorite Darth Vader mug against the wall. It shattered. So did any last thread of patience I had left. He called me crazy and stormed out. We haven't had a real conversation since, just him sulking or snapping when he's around. The next day, I booked a consultation with a divorce lawyer. She was calm, kind, and incredibly clear. She told me what documents to start gathering, advised me not to leave the townhouse, and said I should begin tracking every purchase, what came from joint accounts versus what looked like personal gifts. It felt overwhelming, but it gave me direction. A to-do list, something solid. I also went to urgent care and got tested for ST. All came back negative, thank God, but explaining why I needed them. That was a new kind of humiliation. Meanwhile, Daniel started doing what I've since learned is called love bombing. Flowers, handwritten notes, sudden offers to go to therapy. We can fix this, he said. Let's fight for what we have. When I didn't react, he flipped. One moment he was fake crying, asking if we could reset. The next, he was cold, accusing me of not even trying. Hour to hour, it shifted: sadness, sarcasm, silence. And then came the kicker. I came home early from work. There'd been a power outage at the office, and as soon as I stepped inside, I heard Daniel in the kitchen, talking on the phone. He didn't hear me come in. His voice was low, but clear enough. Just give her a little space. I'm handling it. Once it settles down, we'll figure everything out. He was talking to Emily. I didn't say a word. Just walked in, grabbed my water bottle from the counter, and walked right back out. He saw me, his face froze, mid-sentence, and he hung up fast, but he didn't follow. Didn't say anything, just let me walk away. That night, I called my cousin Jason. He owns a rental townhouse, a couple of neighborhoods over. It's in the middle of being renovated, but still livable. I didn't even get halfway through explaining before he said, It's yours. Stay as long as you need. No pressure. Pay what you can. I cried again, but this time it was from relief. Since then, I've been quietly moving things over while Daniel's at work. Just the essentials, my documents, a few changes of clothes, personal items, anything with real sentimental value. I opened a brand new bank account with a completely different institution. I'm setting everything up to leave clean, no mess, no open doors. Then, last weekend, Daniel ordered a watch. Not just any watch, some absurd $2,100 designer thing. Paid for straight out of our joint account. He claimed it was for client meetings, something about keeping up appearances. But we both knew what it really was. A distraction, an ego boost. The delivery was supposed to arrive yesterday, when I'm normally at work, but I'd swapped shifts last minute, and just so happened to be home when the doorbell rang. I signed for the package, and out of pure curiosity, maybe a little spite, I opened it. There it was, gleaming, excessive, absolutely ridiculous. At first, I thought about just leaving it out for him to see, let it sit there as another symbol of his selfishness. But then I paused. Why should I? It was paid for with our money, and technically, I still had equal access to that account. So I looked up the store's return policy. Turns out, as long as the item was unopened and the payment came from a joint account, they'd issue a refund, no questions asked if returned in person. I drove to the nearest location that same afternoon, brought the receipt pulled from our online banking. The clerk didn't even blink, scanned the code, confirmed the purchase, and processed the return on the spot. The money hit the joint account within the hour, but I'd already set up account alerts. I moved my half into my new account the minute it landed. Daniel probably won't even notice until the next time. He tries to play the role of big spender, and I'll be long gone. Daniel is away at an actual leadership summit right now. He has no idea the townhouse is half empty. He doesn't know I've already had the divorce papers drawn up, or that he's walking straight into the ugliest wake-up call of his life. I don't know exactly what happens next. I'm scared. I'm furious. But I'm also ready, and that means something. Thanks again to everyone who listened. I'll update when things move forward. Second update. It's been a month since my last update, and a lot has happened. When I left off, I was about to leave Daniel while he was at his summit. I'd already moved most of my things to my cousin Jason's rental place, returned the ridiculous watch Daniel had ordered, and had the divorce papers prepped and waiting. Well, I did it, and the fallout, intense. The morning Daniel was scheduled to come home, I did one final walkthrough of our townhouse. I only took what was indisputably mine, plus a few shared keepsakes I couldn't bear to part with. I left all the furniture, except for my grandmother's antique reading chair. That's been in my family for generations. I placed the divorce papers neatly on the kitchen counter, with a short note on top. You were right, I don't know how to keep a man happy. But apparently, neither does my sister. Beside it, I left the house key and my wedding ring. Then I walked out, for good. That first night at Jason's place was surreal. I felt hollow, like I was floating outside my own life, watching it unfold from somewhere else. I turned off my phone. I want to deal with the inevitable explosion the second Daniel got home. When I finally turned it back on the next morning, the screen lit up like a slot machine. 27 missed calls from Daniel, 12 from Emily, 5 from my mom. Daniel's voicemails ran the full spectrum. First, confused. Hey, where are you? Are you at your parents'? Then angry. What the hell is this? We need to talk now. And finally, desperate. Please, just call me back. We can fix this. I screwed up, I know that. But we can come back from this. Please. Emily's messages were a mess. Apparently, Daniel had started pulling away from her too, and she had no idea I'd left or that he'd been served with papers. She wanted to talk, wanted to know what was going on. My mom's messages were just concern. Daniel had called her, looking for me. I texted her back, I'm safe. I just need some space. I didn't respond to Daniel or Emily. Around noon, my lawyer emailed Daniel had already reached out to her office. She gently reminded me not to communicate with him directly about anything, and to forward any messages his way. Honestly, that boundary felt like oxygen. The next few days blurred into a storm of logistics, switching utilities, changing addresses, updating my info at work, telling the right people, rebuilding. Daniel's behavior, meanwhile, whiplashed between extremes. One minute, he was flooding my phone with apologies and promises. The next, hours of silence, like he was trying to punish me for taking control. But I had already chosen peace, and this time, I wasn't giving it back. I documented everything, every detail, but I didn't respond. Then came the first real surprise. 5 days after I left, Emily showed up at my workplace. I was walking to my car after a long shift when I spotted her leaning against a lamppost in the parking lot, arms crossed, eyes red like she hadn't slept in days. When she saw me, she stood up straighter and made a beeline toward me, fast. For a second, I considered just walking past. Every instinct screamed, "Don't engage." But then she called my name loud enough that 2 of my coworkers turned around to look. "I didn't know where else to go," she said. She didn't ask for help, not really. Instead, she launched into this messy, winding monologue about how Daniel had gone cold on her, how he'd made her promises, whispered futures, and then vanished. How our parents were pretending she didn't exist. "I know you hate me," she said, "but you don't get it. He used me too." I thought he actually cared. It wasn't an apology. It was her rewriting the script, trying to make herself the victim, trying to get me to say it wasn't her fault. But I saw it, right there in her eyes. She wasn't here to repair anything. She was here to be absolved. When I didn't respond, she stepped closer, her voice dropping, urgent. "You're not the only one who got hurt, you know." I looked at her, really, looked and felt nothing. No rage, no satisfaction, not even pity, just empty. "I can't help you," I said. "Call Robert." When she reached out to grab my arm, I yanked it away hard enough that she stumbled. Then I got in my car and left. That night, she texted from a number I didn't recognize. "He's changed. I think he still loves you. We made a mistake." I stared at it for maybe 20 minutes. Then I took a screenshot and sent it to Daniel. No words. He called within seconds. I didn't answer. An hour later, a new message popped up. It wasn't like that. "She's lying. I never loved her. It was just physical. Please talk to me." I forwarded that one to Emily. Maybe it was petty, but I wanted them both to see it. Just a sliver of what betrayal looks like when it's staring you in the face. A week later, I was served with Daniel's official response to the divorce filing. He was contesting everything: the property split, the grounds, even accusing me of abandoning the marital home. My lawyer said this was standard posturing, nothing to panic about. What Daniel didn't realize was that I'd kept records of everything. Every shady transaction, every text, screenshots, photos of him and Emily, audio recordings, witness statements. My lawyer practically grinned, said we had a bulletproof case. 2 weeks after I left, I finally met with my parents. They looked exhausted. My dad hugged me and didn't let go. My mom kept dabbing her eyes with a tissue. They'd had a few sit-downs with Emily. Shea was staying with Robert for now, but it wasn't going well. She kept insisting she and Daniel had something real, that everyone else just didn't understand. Apparently, Robert's wife was ready to toss her out. I told my parents about the divorce and my new place. I told them I was okay financially, emotionally, a bit of a lie, but they had enough on their plate. Then my dad surprised me. He said they'd already spoken to a family lawyer about removing Emily from their will. I told him that wasn't necessary, she was still their daughter. But he just shook his head. "Actions have consequences," he said. "We raised you both better than this." 3 weeks after I left, my lawyer called. Daniel had pulled nearly $7,000 from our joint savings. Luckily, I'd already moved most of my share into my new bank. But still, it felt like another punch to the gut. My lawyer filed motions the same date to freeze remaining assets and to request temporary financial orders. The court date was set for the following week. But 2 days before the hearing, Daniel's lawyer reached out. Suddenly, he wanted to settle. No court, no public mess. He agreed to my proposed property division as long as I agreed to keep the divorce grounds private. No mention of adultery. My lawyer said it was a smart deal. And for once, I agreed.com. On paper, I was getting what I wanted financially. It was a solid outcome. No court battle. No drawn-out drama. But something felt off. Why the sudden shift? Why was Daniel so eager to keep everything out of the public record? I asked my lawyer for time to think it over. That evening, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize again. This time using a friend's phone. Daniel's in trouble at work. His director found out. Please don't make it worse for him. And just like that, it made sense. Daniel's company is notoriously strict about personal conduct, especially for someone in a leadership role. If the divorce papers listed adultery explicitly, with names and dates, it could put his position in jeopardy. That's why he wanted to settle quietly. Not for peace, not for me. To protect himself, I told my lawyer I'd agree with one condition. Daniel would cover all legal costs, including mine. His lawyer pushed back. We went back and forth. Eventually, we landed on him paying 80% of the total fees. The final documents would be signed next week. Yesterday was the first day I didn't cry. Not once. I went to work, grabbed lunch with a coworker, came home, made pasta, watched 2 episodes of some forgettable show, and went to bed. Just normal things, but they felt like wins. Small ones, quiet ones. But mine. This morning, I woke up to 15 missed calls from that same unknown number. Emily again. I haven't listened to any of the voicemails. I don't need to. I've heard every version of her excuses already. This afternoon, I was pushing a cart through the cereal aisle when I got an email. Not from Daniel, not from HR, from his company's legal department. Apparently, Daniel told them I was spreading false rumors about him at work, accusing him of infidelity, trying to damage his professional reputation. The email was worded neutrally, like a simple fact check. They said they were launching an internal review and wanted to verify a few claims. I stood there for a long time, just staring at the screen. Long enough that a store employee actually asked if I needed help. When I got home, I forwarded the email to my lawyer right away. I don't know what Daniel thinks he's doing, trying to spin this like I'm out for revenge, but I have no interest in playing games. He started this. I'm just finishing it, and I'll do it with the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. She called me 10 minutes later. We agreed to respond officially, but carefully. Together, we drafted a short statement confirming that I had filed for divorce based on clear, documented infidelity, and that I had no involvement in spreading personal details at Daniel's workplace. We attached screenshots and a redacted copy of the wellness retreat receipt. Just enough to make a point. The email was factual, professional, brief. An hour later, we got the standard out-of-office reply. So now, I wait. My brother Robert called this evening to check in. He mentioned that Emily finally moved out of his place yesterday. She's staying with a friend now, though he doesn't know who. Said she left the guest room with disaster-stained sheets, foundation smeared all over the sink, and a scorch mark on the carpet from a straightener. Classy.com. While we were talking, I got a notification Daniel had posted on Instagram for the first time in weeks. A glass of whiskey beside a flickering candle, captioned with something painfully deep like, "Some storms are meant to break you so you can rebuild." 6 weeks ago, that would have wrecked me. Now, I actually laughed. This is the same man who cracked jokes while I sobbed, who pocketed the last of my birthday cash so he could take my sister to a spa, who told me I didn't deserve gifts, and now he's doing his best tortured poet routine on social media. It's pathetic. I'm still at Jason's rental for now, but I've started apartment hunting, browsing listings, scrolling through Marketplace for secondhand furniture, even signed up for one of those meal kit boxes. So I don't live off Thai takeout every night. Tomorrow, I meet with my lawyer to go over the final settlement before Daniel signs. She thinks we've covered everything, but wants to make sure there are no hidden debts or missing accounts. We're almost at the finish line. I know the road ahead is still long, but Daniel and Emily wanted to play adult games, and now they're facing adult consequences. That's something. Final update, as promised. So many of you messaged asking for an update. I said I'd share one once things were settled in. They finally are. The divorce was finalized last month. Daniel stopped fighting once the internal review at his job picked up steam. In the end, most of the agreement stuck to what I originally proposed. I kept my retirement accounts and all personal property. He kept the townhouse, but had to refinance it in his name and pay me my share of the equity. We split the joint savings, minus the $7,000 he withdrew. He also covered 80% of all legal fees. It was exhausting, expensive, but fair. The most unexpected moment came on the final day, at the courthouse. Through his lawyer, Daniel asked for 5 minutes of my time. My lawyer advised against it, but I said yes as long as we stayed in view of the security desk. He told me he wasn't trying to get me back, that he just needed to say he finally understood the damage he caused. He asked if maybe someday we could be civil again. I told him probably not, but I hoped he found peace. That last part wasn't entirely true. I don't wish him ill, but I don't wish him well either. I just want him to stay gone. As for Emily, that's a mess in slow motion. After Robert kicked her out, she couch hopped for a while. Most friends lasted maybe 2 weeks before getting fed up. According to my mom, she'd stay up late drinking boxed rose and crying about how unfair everything was while refusing to do anything to fix her life. 3 months ago, she moved back in with our parents. It's been tense. Dad barely speaks to her. Mom's stuck trying to keep peace in a house that's quietly falling apart. Emily's working at a call center now and claims she's saving for her own place. But it's hard to save when you're blowing half your paycheck on Sephora and DoorDash. We haven't spoken since that parking lot encounter outside my old job. She's tried texting me from every number she can find, but I've blocked them all, and I'm finally done listening. They've gone from defensive, "You don't understand what Daniel and I had," to desperate, "Please talk to me. I miss my sister," to resigned, "I know you'll probably hate me forever." I haven't responded to any of them. My extended family knows something happened between Emily and me, but not all the details. Most don't know what to say, though my grandmother, the one who sent the birthday money Daniel took, cornered me at Christmas and told me that whatever Emily did, I should remember that forgiveness heals the forgiver more than the forgiven. I nodded, then quickly changed the subject. I love my grandmother, but she doesn't understand that some betrayals can't be forgiven with a hug and a prayer. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay. Sometimes. I found my own apartment 2 months ago. A small 1-bedroom with big windows and a tiny balcony that overlooks a park. It's my space, and I'm making it mine. Last week, I went on my 3rd date with a guy I met through a mutual friend. He's a radiologist at the Children's Hospital across town. He knows the broad strokes of my story, and yet, he hasn't run for the hills. We're taking things incredibly slowly, but it's nice to be reminded that not all men are trash. The most surprising development has been my relationship with my brother Robert. We were never particularly close growing up, 5 years apart. Completely different interests. But through this whole mess, he's been my biggest defender. When Emily tried to paint herself as the victim at a family dinner, I wasn't attending. Robert shut her down so thoroughly that she left the table in tears. He calls me weekly just to check in, and his wife has become like the sister I thought I'd lost. A few weeks ago, I ran into Emily at Target. I just nodded politely and walked away. Later, when I went to check out, the cashier told me that someone had paid for my items. I knew it was him. I donated the exact amount, $1.74, and change to a local shelter that afternoon. I didn't want anything from him. The money I got from returning the watch, which I mentioned in my last update, went toward booking a solo trip to Costa Rica next month for my 30th birthday. I'm going to stay in a small beachfront cabin, take long walks along the shore, and just be with myself for a bit. I deleted my old Instagram. Too many memories with Daniel and Emily that I'm trying to leave behind. I created a new private account with just close friends. I've been learning to cook actual meals instead of surviving on frozen dinners. I don't know if Emily and I will ever repair our relationship. Some days I feel like the sister I once loved died the moment she chose to betray me. Other days I remember the little girl who used to follow me around, always asking to borrow my clothes. And I wonder if something of that bond remains buried beneath all the hurt. Maybe time will tell, but I'm not rushing it.